The following program has been rated GE by the Kenya Film Classification Board. It is therefore suitable for general family viewing.
Hello viewer, my name is Betty Akuku. I'm your host today and I have a guest in studio with me. Today we are going to be talking about something that you probably really want to hear this time. Children are on holiday and many times they're at home and we do not know really well how to engage them. I have a specialist who works mostly with children, even adolescents and teenagers, and she's here to explain to us pretty well what we should do with the children when they're on holiday. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Betty. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you for having me again today. Yeah.
Please introduce yourself to my guest.
Yes, my name is Rosalind Keegan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a marriage and family therapist and a certified coach.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
Wow.
I have my clinic at Upper Hill in Nairobi.
Upper Hill.
Yes.
Okay.
That's where we see clients.
It's good to have you, Rosalind.
Thank you very much.
Welcome, welcome.
Yeah.
So kids, right now, people have closed schools.
Yeah.
And many parents are wondering what to do with their children. There are many fears and concerns. Recently, I met with one person who was expressing a fear of, oh, my daughter has done class 8 and she's supposed to be going to Form 1 next year. And she's at home with the grandma, and the grandma is somehow not able to control the children. I don't know why. Though they are mothers, they do not have the firm hand of a mother. So they will allow anything. You want to go for a disco, they will do that. What do you think about that space? Is there a safe space? Is it so unsafe to have your children with the grandma?
Grandmas are allowed to spoil their grandchildren.
They allowed to spoil.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm like, I know God will bless me with grandchildren, and the firmness I had in my children will not be the same with the firmness I'll have in my grandchildren. That's a fact.
What changes?
But the values, because I'm not their parent. I'm their grandmother. And when they're coming home to see me during Christmas, during Easter,
that's the
during
difference.
holiday,
You're not the parent.
I'm not the parent, I'm the grandmother. They need to be happy. But the values that I brought up with my children will still be the same. Yeah? Yeah. But the firmness should come from
The parent.
the parents,
Okay.
not the the grandmother. But for a grandmother to allow a child to go to a disco, that's a no-no. That value is not there. Yeah, you can't allow a 14-year-old. I'm assuming that's Shags or Nairobi, I don't know. But you can't allow, that's not right. Rules, for even when they're at home, the rules have to be followed. The firmness, you can get away with so many things around the house because they need to play, they need to, they need to long to come home. Yeah.
You know, kids are so cunning.
Yeah.
They will tell you they're going to buy something, they're going to play with their friends, and then they end up, with their friends going for a night dance.
Yeah, that is adolescence.
And the grandma will say, okay, sure.
That's most adolescents we might do that. But at home, what are the values that the parents are bringing up these children with? Yeah, have you talked to them about the dangers of all these things around going out? So the buck still stops to the parent. A grandmother should not again parent the grandchildren. She's already done their part. The grandmother, the grandparents have already done their part
Of parenting you, the mother.
and the father. So it's up to them now. The values that the grandmother had for them is up to them now to instill on their children. Yeah.
So it's not the grandmother's role to now parent her grandchildren.
No. That only happens if job wasn't done well. Because what happens is some children will abdicate their parent to the grandparent. Yeah. And maybe the other option maybe you're out of the country. Yeah. You're
a single
sick,
mom.
or you're a single mom. Even when you're a single mom, yeah,
You have to be in the city, maybe working.
Maybe yeah. But at the end of the day, the parenting and the values should come from the parent. Yeah, the grandmother will just reinforce but the parenting and the values should come from the parents.
Do you think that parents are doing their role in the best way to instill the right values in their children?
I think parents are trying.
They're trying. Huh?
The world, you know, when we grew up, we had one station. There was no social media. Yeah, it was controlled. Everything was controlled. You couldn't see. But now there's so much happening in this world. Parents are trying what they can. They're trying their level best. But for a parent to do their best, they just need to be around. They need to be present in that
Which
child's
is
life.
not possible like 100%.
Some parents are doing it. So it means there's some things you need to drop. There's some things you need to
Minus
sacrifice.
work.
Yeah, something you need to
Minus work.
sacrifice.
You need to drop a lot of things except work.
Even some
which
promotions.
takes up
even
which
some
takes up
promotions.
most of the time.
Yeah.
So
Even some
work
promotions.
is what takes up most of the time.
Exactly.
But you need to drop this work.
You need money. So you can't drop work, Betty.
Yes. But it takes longer. It takes much of
Yeah.
your time.
Yeah.
So how do you manage?
It takes.
How do you ensure you're still present to instill the values? Because nowadays in the society, the parents leave early, they come back late. They're not in school with the children, neither are they home with them. And when they are home, everyone is so tired, they just want to do the last thing and sleep. And wake up early for the next day.
When I'm talking to parents in therapy, I always ask them, give me your program. Or write for me your whole program for the week. When you bet me, I tell you to write for me the whole program for the week. I'll find some gaps. I'll find that you have some time. And you've just said when they come, they're so tired, which is true, your fact they're so tired. But can you create even some few minutes for your child, just to look through the homework? In fact, with the new syllabus, parents are expected to work with the child. Yeah. So things need to change. You have
Do you
to
just
work with
need
the
a
child.
few minutes?
You
How
need
long do you
more.
need? Because that's the excuse a lot of parents are giving. There's no time. There's no time. But when you're saying you can create time from the program if it's written down, I'm wondering how long does a parent actually need so that we get out of this excuse always, we don't have time, we don't have time. How many hours do we need to spend with our children in the day?
Take for example a Saturday. Yeah. I'm assuming maybe you go half day to work. Then this weekend you don't have to do your hair. I'm just looking at a lady.
Yeah.
Or even for a man, most of the time maybe you want to go to the garage and do your car. Why can't you take your son with you? Yeah, and spend the time when you're doing that. And if your work environment is conducive for a child, why can't you take the child with you? Now that you're on holiday once in a while. Yeah, and or when you're going to the salon, take your girl. Yeah, when you're going to meet your friends, and then you need to ask yourself, must I be meeting friends every other time? Must I be hanging out with the boys every other time? Why can't I hang out with these my children? And then must I go sit in the salon and do my hair for 3 hours? We actually sit in the salon and do hair for 3 hours. Why can you not now say, until my child is this age or something, let me look for a hairstyle where I can be, or call somebody
That means
in the
a lot of
house.
sacrifice, Roslyn, for the parents.
Today's
That's
age,
too demanding.
yes. Why did you give birth?
When will the parents start living their lives?
You live your life, you balance. Let me tell you something. Once you've created time, you spend.
What
you
did
spend
you
a
mean?
whole-
Why did you give birth?
Yeah, why did you give birth if you don't want to create
Did
time?
you say
with-
that?
Yeah, because this child.
You gave
needs
birth
to-
because you wanted children, you wanted
Betty.
happiness. It will give you joy, you know.
Betty,
Uh-huh.
when God
No
gave
one
you,
tells you
when
it is
God-
such a task.
when God gave you this child, you are the steward.
Aye.
When the day He's going to call you, He's going to ask you, the angels I gave you, what did you do with them? What will be your answer? What will be your answer?
It is too difficult, Roslyn.
I don't think it's difficult. I think it's just we're selfish with our time.
Really?
And we have a child there and we need to spend time.
So a mother is supposed to live her entire life for her children.
No, balance. Balance your time and spend time with your children and spend time with yourself. It's possible.
You know, ladies are campaigning for a me time. Is it possible to have that me time?
Yes.
With a daily schedule
Yes.
of work
Yes.
and house
Yes.
and me
Yes.
and children.
All you need is to come for
Really?
coaching. We do coaching. I'll walk through your time. from the time you wake up until the whole week. And for sure, Betty, you'll find gaps. And those gaps can be your me time. And then what is me time? What do you do in me time? Even in therapy, yes. In fact, in therapy, we encourage people to have their me time, to have, we call it soothing time, soothing, where you just sit and soothe yourself.
Or go for massage.
Or go for massage. A massage is what? It takes like, what, an hour? And you're back home. And depending on what you like. Some people like, when you ask them what you like, some people just like walking and listening to music. Yeah. Yeah. Me time doesn't mean a whole block, a whole afternoon. That's just enough, you mean. It all depends on how you spend your time and the definition of some of those words people are just bringing out. But the little things can, if I look at your time, from the time you wake up until the time you sleep, and we go through them, and that's including work, traffic, yeah? There'll be time that you'll spend sometimes with me, with yourself, and sometimes with the children. And you know what, Betty? Maybe on Wednesday you did not see your child. Maybe you had that me time on Wednesday and you're busy at work. But come on Friday or Monday, yeah, you might spend time with your child. Yeah.
You know, the reason I'm getting this far before we get to the holiday is because the holiday cannot be effective if our daily lives with the children, we are doing nothing with them, you know. Much as they have a holiday time, if in the times when they are busy and so engaged, we are doing nothing with them, then the holiday will just be as similar as the school days, you know. So now, when children are on holiday, would you advise that the parents do something extra, or they just live their normal life?
You know, why can you not take leave also during that holiday time? Yeah, because there are 30 days leave days, right? Yeah, and some parents have accumulated even leaves. So during that holiday time, take leave also.
That's what you'd advise
Yeah,
parents.
stay home with your child, take leave.
Rosaline, you know, there are people who are happier away from their children because children are very stubborn.
And now that person who's happy away from the children now needs to
Sometimes you want a break, Rosaline.
Why would you want a break from your child?
Because they're so stubborn.
Then it's you, the parent.
Haven't you had parents who was really complaining and they're just like, phew, give me a break, 1 hour, and they will lock themselves in their rooms. They will go out for 2 hours and come back, you know, just to be away from that
environment.
Noise. Yes.
It is you, the child, the parent who dropped the ball. It is you who has dropped the ball. From the word go, you've dropped the ball. You did not put structures, boundaries in your life when these children were growing up. And now they're teens, they're everywhere. Yeah.
Because now you can imagine holiday. If you have taken leave, my friend, 30 days is a long time. Even if you're going to do 10 days, they're here and there. Right now,
what do you mean by they're here and there?
Parents are already complaining that the government has given too long a break, you know, for the children to be home. The parents have many complaints.
Yeah.
There's too much, there's work increment in the house. You know, there's
food
expenditure rise.
Yeah, there's the food you eat. Also the
yes, apart from
is
food,
always
they want
empty.
to take them here and there. You're buying more snacks than usual. There's so much that is happening in the house that is just raising up everything else, you know. And so they're wishing, they're like, no, 2 months is too long. So it's not a good break for them.
For the parents.
For the kids, it's a good break.
Yeah.
But for the parents,
why?
How do they engage them? It's a long, long time. How are they going to engage them in this holiday, 2 months? All they're used to, they're supposed to be going to school every morning. Now they have to wake up and they're here. Are they supposed to watch TV all day? What are they supposed to do?
What we do now that question is very, very common. Yeah, and it's a very valid question. But what we tell parents is like now we're talking about preteens. You need to come up with a structure, even in your own house, of chores. Yeah. Of course, now they sleep slightly in. Yeah. During our time, there was nothing like sleeping slightly in. Remember, I don't know, I'm older than you. By 6, you're up. Yeah, but this time, especially the ones for the children from in towns, they sleep slightly. Maybe they used to wake up at 6 or 5. Now they'll wake up slightly, maybe at 8. Yeah. So what activities or chores? So when you wake up, what do? Clean their bedroom. Give them and sit down with them and let them write it. Tell me, give me your program for the whole day, even the program for the whole week. Yeah, and that will include TV time and social media time. Yeah, so, you know, like school, they also have a program. So even in your house, you need to have a program for them. Then when you come, you also need to assess and see if they have done. Yeah, I remember when my children were small, and this used to happen. Holidays still used to happen. I used to give them ideas. I used to tell them, you know what, I need you to go get cardboards. This is just here in Nairobi. Cardboards, make for me cars. So when you wake up, make your bed, take tea. Maybe some of them will do drawings or plant for me plants. Just activities that they'll do around the house. Yeah.
You have to find a way of engaging them.
Be very creative as a parent. The interesting
but
thing.
Will you do? Rosalie, will you do that for 2 months?
Yes, and they'll love it. Let me tell you something. There, you put you have to get some tins or something. Tell them to plant, and then water and water. The next time, tell them to build a car with cardboard or something. Be as creative.
That
then
is just 1 week.
Oh
Today
no.
Plant, tomorrow build cars.
No. It's going to be. I'm telling you.
Cats.
As the week goes by, now they'll have other ideas and get engaged, and then let them draw. Buy those crayons and things, you know, like the little ones. Give them time to draw. Give them time to give them activities to do.
You know, those things are so boring for the preteens.
Preteens, the ones, especially the ones who love drawing or doing lyrics or poems. You know, there's some just like composing some lyrics and poems. Yeah, tell them, give me a song or do something. Then buy books. Get them books. Go to the library. There's a library. We have a library here, but is it used? Yeah. So yeah, let them read. Then when you come, tell them to do a summary. Yeah. You know
those things you're saying, Rosaline, they could be applied here in Nairobi.
Yeah.
You know,
they are
being applied.
Yeah.
There are people who actually have holiday engagement programs in the city.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the village. You know, when you're in the village, you're most probably with your grandparents or even your parents. So you have done class 8, you have done 4th form, you're just idle. You have no work to read for, you know, the following year if you are a candidate in this year. So you can imagine what is left for you to do. Just walking around, looking for new friends, engaging in a lot of peer pressure. You're being introduced to strange things. And there's no one to guide you because your parents will send you for firewood, to fetch water, you know. All these things, you have to go to the market to buy food. On your way, you meet with people, you know, and they keep you busy. They introduce you to stuff. How are the parents in the village able to do this?
To be honest, the village is tasking. I'm a board in one of the schools where I come from, and the task I realize that boys especially are not going to school because they're doing border. They're getting money, so they're not. Yeah. So I can imagine now during the holiday, there will be a lot more business for them. Yeah, and they're not even wearing safety gears. Yeah, and then the betting thing, not even in the village, even here in Nairobi, has really gone up, and it's affecting both the boys and the girls. And you can find. I remember the time I worked in Kangware. And you find us boys 15, 16, 18, 25, sitting down at a place and just betting. Then nothing else, and they've stopped work. Nowadays, even when you go to the village right now, and you look for a person to work, just to help you build something small, you won't get either it's alcohol or the betting that has come in, and with that little money now also, there's a lot of teenage pregnancy. So the village is something that we really need to find what can we do, because chores are there in the village.
Yes,
It's standard
and a lot of
procedure.
it.
There's a lot of it's a lot, and by 2-3 they're done, the chores, and there's really nothing much you can do apart from we can, maybe the churches can call in the girls, can call in the boys to do activities in the church, or even some organizations that can
You know,
come.
that doesn't even sound like a safe space, because I want to look at these two scenarios. In the city, your advice is that we give chores to the children to keep them busy, including the TV time in it, and so that they are really engaged, you know, and the day passes by. In the village, they have a lot of chores, because compared to the city, in the city, a lot of people have house helps. So the chores are not as much for the children,
As in,
you know. But in the village, there are no house helps mostly. So the girls or the boys have
the
to
ones
do
who
the
do
chores
yeah.
for themselves. But they still manage to finish. And even in the event of doing the chores, they disappear and all these things happen. I'll give you a scenario. It must be this year, beginning of this year, that the government, I guess, must have decided that now even the day schools will have half terms. You know, this never used to be there. In that half term, I looked at some statistics. There was a lot of pregnancies just in that break, just in that break alone. There was a lot of girl and teenage pregnancies. You know, just a 2 weeks, or is it 1 week break? So now there is a holiday of 2 months. What is the security of the children? What is the security of the parents? How should the parents rest in such kind of a scenario?
The buck still stops the parents. At the end of the day, is how did you, what, the values, the talking. You have to keep on talking to these boys. You have to keep on talking. In fact, it's not even pregnancy. There's a lot of diseases.
Yes.
There's HIV, there's so much, and it's all both boys and girls. And
There is also drugs.
yeah, there's also drugs, there's alcoholism, and they just have the community. The parents need to talk to these children. Community needs also to start to be there, to be around. And also I brought in the part of churches, community, because you can't bring up a child in isolation. It has to be a village. And if the community at home, if the community especially is seeing children going to a certain place and taking drugs, or these boys are impregnating, and they don't say, and they don't bring out to the chief, because now it's the local chief and all that. I think the holidays will be a nightmare for most parents.
I think it already
and
is.
as you said, for the grandmother, she's old. Especially those old ones, they have got no idea. They didn't go to school. They don't know. They can't say yes or no. When a 16-year-old from 3 is telling their grandmother, we are going to sleep in school, and she's going for somewhere, the grandmother won't know. That's why she end up in
allowing.
Allowing in discourse. But who is organizing those discourse for those for the underage?
You know, it's a funeral maybe. It's a funeral maybe.
Yeah, then who is allowing those things happening?
And you cannot refuse
the
them
community
to a funeral.
No, the community needs to stand up. I think at home, in the village, the community just needs to stand up and say no. The chief needs to start working, doing their jobs. The parents also need to decide.
You know, the parents are already there. The chief is already there. The society is already there. But these things are not happening.
They need to start happening now.
These things are not happening.
They need to start.
Is there a gap that someone from wherever needs to come up and bridge?
The parents now need to come up and just bridge that gap and say, you know what, my daughter, my son, you won't go. Oh, no is also a decision. No is also a decision. Yeah. Just say no. Whether in the village, you go, you are finishing chores, go and come back.
Are you saying that we need to get these people doing the holiday programs from the city? And I don't even think it's many cities, probably just Nairobi. That's where I've had these kinds of things happening. I don't know who is doing this in Mombasa, in Kisumu, in Nyeri. Are these things really being done down to our counties, you know? Probably somebody needs to wake up and do these things with the bright and the right idea.
the things
Other
of
than just
activities.
bringing, yes.
The activities are done apparently in the villages. Yeah,
Really?
churches
What
do
kinds of activities?
Churches,
They will do camps.
Yeah,
you
they'll
know?
do camp.
And when they do camps, it's a resident camp.
Yeah.
And when they reside there, it's not a safe space because no one is actually watching. And that's where I agree with you that the values come in. If you are away from your parents, what do you do? Even if you're allowed to go spend in a place for a whole week, what will you do? But to some people, because of the restrictions they have had, the way they have been closed up, so when they get this chance, it's freedom to explore everything. And so it becomes a really unsafe space.
But I think we need to avoid making it a blanket. Where there's some people who grew up in the village and they're okay and they came out well. So and it was all about the values. And it all came about from that, the community, the parents, the grandmother, the uncles were working together to bring out this child.
It happened like that, and she was very successful because parenting was a community or village responsibility. But nowadays, people are so individualistic. No one cares, you know. Someone mentioned the other day that in a court, just in the estate, in their particular courts, she cites teenagers kissing just on the street, you know, just inside the court. Not outside. But there are small kids also who pass and they're playing and they don't care. And it's not at night. And they don't care.
This someone who cited this.
No one cares.
What did they do?
Somebody just passes and says, they're not mine.
Yeah.
You know?
So that's a problem now.
People don't want to touch other people's children.
That's a problem now we're having.
Yes.
So the court, in fact, there's some courts who have the chairman, have a committee.
Yes.
Now, those are the things that need to be brought up in those kind of courts. And the person who just
the courts talk about security.
Yeah.
And they talk about water.
Yeah, they need to talk about discipline.
And they talk about cleanliness in the courts.
And house helps.
They talk about house helps. When you see my house help pass with a
bag, I know. Yeah, but we need to be responsible. We need to.
They need to start talking about
all
the children.
need to start being responsible. We need to be our brother's keepers. We need to be responsible. And if you don't talk about it, you also have children, and your children are seeing, and they are growing up. What makes you think your children will not be affected? So we need to start talking about these things.
Much as it may, Rosalind, do you think every parent is welcoming an attack?
Do your bit. Do your bit. Do your bit. Tell them. I say, personally, I'll tell you. I'll tell you, you'll get annoyed, but I've said, and God, my God has said I've done my part.
Does that change anything? Because if this is how these children were brought up, now they have grown, and you're trying to bring up, some news. I mean, what is wrong with just kissing and saying goodbye to my teenage friend? You know, just you going to report or attacking them. Does it change? Does it help?
I don't think it's attacking them. It's just, apparently adolescents, teenagers are very interesting. Yeah. If the mother or the parents will not do anything, the best thing is to talk to them. And you know what? They'll listen to you. There's something they're looking for. Maybe they've never been told anything, and that's what I do. I just call them and talk to them nicely, and let her, you know what? These things you're doing. Number one, you can't do in front of these other small children, and number two, where is it going to take you? And out of the two, because there's not always a couple, either the girl or the boy will start thinking. They'll start thinking, and you've opened a door for a conversation with them. And when they see and they have issues, they'll come to you. If you can't do it, send a person who can be able to talk to them. Yeah. Have those talks.
Because the children are exposed.
The children are exposed. And if you don't do it,
courts.
Yeah,
Somebody you're here for the longest time. Yeah. Maybe until your children leave you to their own homes.
Yeah. And they'll follow that suit if you don't condemn.
How do we get back to the village parenting?
Wow. We just have to want to. We have to want to.
Who's going to advocate?
Parents. You're creating a community around your children. We want to.
Because in the holiday, Rosalind, figure out the 2 months. Those are like 60 plus days. Actually, I heard it's 2.5. So look at those 60 plus days. You cannot be home every single day of them, you know, and your children are here. You are living in a community with people. Your relationship could not be, you know, a relationship of, do I know my neighbor? Do I know what they do? Do I know their values, you know? And so you're so afraid your children are closed up. But once in a while in the 60 days, they will be out. Whether at home, I mean in the village or in the city, they will be out. They will be exposed to so many things that you didn't expose to them, you know? And so another parent watches and says, oh, as long as that is not my child, I'm not stepping out, you know? As long as it's not my child, I'm not going to stretch a hand, you know? Everyone is staying in that way because first, you do not know me as your neighbor. So I don't know what you stand for. I don't know whether it is okay for you and with you, you know, to have such a conversation. You may take it as offensive when someone scolds your children, you know. So how are we going to get back to the village and community parenting?
Work with your child, work with your children. Work with the children. If people are feeling offensive, you are talking to the other children, then you work with your children. That's the only way. Create, bring up those values.
But that will not
with
do
your
anything in the, it will not improve the parenting.
For you, for your children?
For your children it may, but you see they're going to go out. They're going to engage with others.
Yeah,
you get it? They will engage with others. They will meet with other people in the court. You cannot lock them in the 60 days just within your limits and within your compound.
No, I don't.
So they have to go.
Yeah, in fact, don't even try and lock them up. But your children's values, they'll be influencers. They'll influence. You know, let me tell you something. The interesting thing about children, they love places where there's structure. That's very interesting.
Oh, really?
They love, they'll come, they'll get attracted to a place where there's a structure. So open your house.
I thought they just like free.
No.
Huh?
Open your house.
Children love structures.
Now what you need to do is, when you find a place where there's, open your house, let them come in. When they're in your house, you can always give her the values. And your children may be the influencers. Yeah? Because you've brought them up with values. Yeah, you've instilled values on them. You pray over them, so that your children might be. We pray that your children be the influencers, and they might slightly be influenced, but they'll. And the Bible has promised us they'll always come back. Yeah, so open your house. The ones who will come in, open your house. You know what? Pray. You can even pray out the ones that will not change. But at the end of the day, if there's somebody taking care of those children, something will happen. Something will happen. Something will happen to those children. It's not all lost. And in a court, not all of them are bad. Just one or two. And even the children themselves know that this and this one is not a bad person. And they'll somehow automatically avoid them. Yeah.
They know.
They'll know, yeah. They'll know. And open your house. They'll come in.
The teenagers who have done class 8 and they're waiting to move into high school, right now they're being invited for so many parties. You know, when they soon get their results, everyone will be like, let's go partying. There's this in Naivasha, there's this in Nakuru, and we live in Nairobi, you know. So soon they will want to be stepping out and do these kinds of things. As the parents, in the holiday, should they be allowed?
No. Class 8, that's what, a 12, 14-year-old. Yeah, no, even from 4. Why? Why? I mean, they're still underage. You shouldn't. What are you exposing your children to?
Okay, I need to hear that in detail, but first let's take a short break. Viewer, we're taking a short break. Our SMS line is 21144. We're also on YouTube Live and Facebook Live. We'll be back shortly. Today we're talking about engaging children in the holiday. Stay tuned. Hello viewer, welcome to
Chungu, jamii.
My name is Tigist Hailu.
Hello, I'm Dr. Ruben West
I'm Dr. Charles Mukuka
from the United States of America.
I come from Ethiopia.
from Zambia.
I love Kenya very much.
I love the Kenyan people.
Love is not by confession. Love is by action.
Come on now.
When you are a husband, you are not a husband.
It's very important.
You can count the seeds in an apple, but you can never count the number of apples in a seed.
Her phone is her phone. My phone is my phone.
You only know what you know.
Who forced you?
The more you spend time together, the more strong you.
A woman is like a Bible.
Could tell me that they were born and it wasn't from a female, I'd like to know.
A woman she's a good asset. And a woman, she's a very, very good investment.
When you're up, your family knows who you are. But when you're down, you'll figure out who your family is.
Thank you so much.
Everywhere, GBS.
Welcome back, viewer. We are on holiday engagement and have Rosalind here, who is saying to us the things that we should do and we shouldn't do. So Rosalind is saying, when the teenagers ask us, or those who have done Form 4 and Class 8 right now on holiday, ask us to go out with their friends, we should not allow.
What is out?
Are you sincere?
What is out?
We live in Nairobi. They want to go to Naivasha. They want to go to Nakuru. Their friends are having a party. Now there's no cutting hair. Now they can do whatever styles on their hair.
Yes.
Now there's no uniform.
No.
They don't even know the next uniform they're going to wear because they're going to a school they've never been to. There's so much excitement. Why are you saying they shouldn't go?
No.
They will commit suicide, Rosalind.
How? Why?
How?
You know,
If you're Kenyan, you must know right now that the suicide rate is really high in the children.
yeah, I
Yes.
know. I see.
And I hear the worst thing that the reason is the parents.
I'm a therapist by profession.
Okay.
And mental illness is very close to my heart. Very, very close.
I wonder how you got to mental illness, my friend.
Because of suicide.
So you're saying all the students who
Because of
commit suicide are mentally ill?
Yeah. You have to be, yeah. I mean, really, you have to be
How
mental.
can you call that mental illness?
And it's such a, you know, let me tell you something. Yeah? If you've brought up a child with those rules and boundaries. From the word go, it's not sleepovers. I'm just giving an example. From the word go, you cannot go out past this time, or you cannot go out from this time. From the word go, you know very well. This child knows this from the age of 2, when they're now 6, they're now 13, they're now 16, and they're just done the Form 4
When you
at
say
17.
no, you need to give reasons.
Yes, we've sat.
When you give reasons,
yes,
part of the reasons could be that you're still too young, you're not responsible.
yes, we've sat.
So now they're 14.
Yes, you still can. We've sat and these things are discussion. Is there's no way you're going to go out at this age and at this kind of parties. It's a rule that is known in the house.
You know, your child will not come and ask you to go out to drink. You know, they will not ask you to allow them for a sex party. You know, they'll ask you, they're just going out to have fun and just relax. Mom, you're just going to do this, and they'll explain. And you find nothing wrong with that. What would be your reason for saying no, or your fears?
Because from the word go, I'm trying to tell you, Betty, from the word go, they already know.
Earlier, what were you saying?
From the
what
word
was your
go,
reason for no earlier?
You know, as children grow up, yeah, those boundaries expand and expand and expand, and they change. And they know very well, you know what, you can't go and sleep over. Basic.
Yes.
And number 2, you can't go for parties that I don't even know where you're going, and I don't know the parent and who's the chaperone. You see, and if I have to allow you to go to the party, I have to take you and I have to meet the parent of that person. You know, those are the things that they know.
Yes.
This standard procedure, they know.
So if you do not
Even
have the
their
time
friend,
to take them,
yeah,
you don't go.
don't go.
If they allow you to assign someone to go with them.
Who? And why?
Of course, it can't be a stranger.
What kind of party? Birthday party? A birthday party for a 16-year-old? Where? Is there a chaperone? Who is going to be with you at that party? Yeah.
So the parents need to find out all these details.
Where are they going? They're going for a restaurant. Who is going to be sitting with them? And in fact, even talk to the parent. I have talked to parents and find out who is going to sit. Are you going to be there with these children? Yeah? Yeah. Who's going to be around? What time should I pick them, or what time should I drop them? Yeah. And the children should be able to know. They'll get annoyed with you.
There are people right now. I have had a few conversations from the teenagers, and they feel like their parents are too much on them, not allowing them the space to grow up. The parents are caging too much, you know? They're not breaking the shell and hatch the egg out, hatch the chick. So we are shielding too much, and you're not allowing them to be grown-ups. So they want to go to a party, my mom has to drop me, she has to come and pick me, you know? When are they going to grow up? This is their concern. Why don't you trust them? I had a conversation with someone who was telling me, I don't come home late, I don't drink, you know. I drive myself to school and back to school, you know. She goes to campus. I drive myself and back. Why can't you allow me to just go for a party when I have asked you by myself?
Campus is different. Campus is...
So you would allow?
No, campus is different. By the time they're in campus, honestly, that's an adult.
Now, unfortunately, there are parents who have gone to that extent. But if you have never done it at 14, 15, you didn't allow.
That's too
Where
young.
are you going to get the courage as a parent to now say, now I can let you go, you're now a free bird?
You know, 14, 15, Betty is still a child. Those
But
are
this
very
is
young.
when they're on holiday.
Unless this 14, 15, they're going for a birthday party at a friend's house. You see, that's already, parents allow. They go and you come back home. Are you understanding? Then at 16, nowadays I'm seeing people doing big 16 birthdays at restaurant. You go and you come back. Yeah? But when campus is very difficult. It's difficult to control.
I think parenting is such a task. It's really hard work. And I look at it in the city, it's very hard. And I pity people who have to parent in the village, you know, up country. because it's most difficult. Who is creating the awareness? You can imagine a young girl just developing. They're experiencing changes in their bodies. Everything is so strange and exciting. And they meet a deceiver who puts them and locks them up. And the next time they find themselves, they're pregnant. They didn't wish to become teenage mothers, you know. Now all their dreams are shut. Their life has just come to a stop, you know. Who is creating awareness of teenage pregnancies, HIV, drugs in the village? Are people just left to live their life?
They're in the village. I believe I'd say the churches are there. Opinion leaders are there. There's
Are they
a lot
active?
of NGOs.
Are they active?
There's a lot of NGOs that are working. There are a lot of parents also are working. But you see, also the child also needs to make a decision. There's also a decision that this child needs to say no. Yeah. So you
If
can't.
she was never taught or he was never taught,
No, I'm very sure.
it doesn't just happen.
No, biology.
Even
Basic
if you were
biology in
taught,
school,
Rosalina,
you know you're going to get pregnant.
yes.
So yeah, so you know that.
Biology is not done in primary. And nowadays there's no home science.
No.
There's no home science in primary. Biology is done in high school. So I have done my year 13. I have done class 8, 13, you know. And I am so excited. There's a lot of biological changes in my body. You know, I just want to engage with the opposite sex.
You can always engage the opposite sex without getting pregnant. That is what they, and I'm very sure they've been told that in school. I'm very sure they, yeah, you know what?
It's not easy actually, and I really liked this conversation. But I think there's a gap we have still left that we need to bridge.
Yeah.
You know, it's just that unfortunately we are out of time, and you must give your last words right now. But think about the people in the village. Yes, please go ahead.
Yes, at the end of the day, number one is the values that you've brought up your child with. Yeah, that is very key, and they have to be said and repeated again. Number two is bring up your child with a community of the people with the same values, and allowing the community also to instill some values in your child. Because you cannot parent alone. You also need a community, and for the girls out there, even in the village, you can always say no. Yeah, the child also needs to make a decision. Which pill are you going to take? Are you take the blue or the red pill? You see, you can always say no. You don't have to say yes, and you don't have to go into the peer pressure. Yeah, because there's a lot. You have a very bright future coming up, and. At the end of the day, parents just need to pray and act, and be the role model that you can for your children.
I hear you, Rosalind. That was really perfect. Parents, you have to pray. Thank you so much, viewer, for watching. I hope that this has been helpful to you, especially in this time of holiday. Parents have no idea what to do with their children. As you're just thinking about the expenditure that your children are increasing to your house, think of how you're going to engage them for your own good and for their own good. My name is Betty Akuko. I've been your host. See you next time.